Hello everybody, it is me, SimAlley, and today I'd like to talk to you about a topic that is extremely controversial in the Steven Universe community. I'm talking about, got my notes, I'm talking about Pink Diamond. Now, honestly, I don't even know how this video is going to be received. Some people are going to be really with me, some people are going to be really against me. And I think my camera is about to die, so I better plug it in. Every single time this happens, I need to plug in my camera. It's one side. I apologize, this is not overly professional, but when am I ever? Come on, don't die on me now. Any second. And okay, my camera's not gonna die now. It never seems to have any energy or power to it. But yeah, that was a nice excuse for me to not have to address the matter right away. Distraction. Always fun. Let's talk about Pink Diamond. So I think that she, near the end, was not a bad person. In fact, I think that Pink Diamond is more human than most of the other gems. Now hear me out, because a lot of people are like, well, she did all these bad things, and I'm like, I know, just, if you sit through this video and you still have the same opinion, that's okay. I just want you to at least hear mine. You know, it's okay, we don't have to agree. So, watching her character arc backwards, we end up thinking less and less of her. But if we were presented with her story in the correct order, I honestly think that we would have been able to more easily pick up on the changes that she made. Are they astronomical changes? Maybe, maybe not, but she did change over the course of time. She didn't go from being a bad person to a bad person. She went from being a young, kind of bad person to a much older, not as bad person. And I gotta stop veering off my notes because these are important. These are important. I need to keep all of my thoughts in check. Now, no one is perfect. And I know that she's not. She's not perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. No character is perfect. So what do we know of her story? She started off as a bratty gem equivalent of a child, and she threw temper tantrums, violent ones that affected people like Spinel and Volleyball, and she treated those types of gems sort of like toys at first. I mean, when she didn't feel like playing with Spinel anymore, she abandoned her, much like a child abandons a toy that's no longer its favorite. And she ended up hurting Volleyball as well, and Volleyball was taken away from her because she literally broke her. And she moved on, and she was given a new colony and a new pearl, and she wanted to be a real diamond, and sort of big girl now, I'm gonna be a real, you know, adult person now, even though she was still very immature at the time. I honestly think that she was still kind of viewing it as playtime when she went to Earth and she changed her form as Rose Quartz and realized that it's not just the other diamonds that were taking away life, it was her too. And I think that that is probably a huge turning point in her life, but it didn't affect her immediately. I mean, it did in some ways, but it also didn't. Honestly, she tried to do the mature and politically correct thing, and she tried to plead with her superiors, with the other diamonds, and she was she was still immature and naive. Like, I'm not sure at what point she was just going around dating a bunch of different men, but I'll get to that point later. That's further down the page. So she took matters into her own hands, and that was I mean, who wouldn't, right? Some people, I think, would just leave it, and other people take it into their own hands, and really no decision would have been better or worse, if you really think about it. She started a war, and she lost a lot of people, and because she couldn't cope with the situation, she felt trapped, she felt overwhelmed, and she felt like all the power was slipping from her fingers. She faked her own death. And then she fell in love, and we know the rest of the story. She ended up having Stephen. Pearl mentioned, this is where I was going to bring it up, Pearl mentioned that Rose / Pink Diamond used to date lots of men, and I think that was also her playtime. Because remember that song that she sang, It's Over, Isn't It? You know, some of the lyrics are, I was fine with the men who would come into her life now and again. And she was fine when they came, because it didn't really matter until, of course, Greg. And I don't think that Stephen was entirely an escape. I think that he became someone that she needed to sacrifice for as a parent, because most people don't truly become mature until they become a parent. Some people don't become mature after they become a parent, but some people do. They change, and they really become the person that they're supposed to be. But unfortunately for her, she ended up having to give up herself entirely, and that was a sacrifice that she had to make to have a baby. And that in itself does require some level of maturity. I mean, she could have been selfish and be like, well, I just want to keep on existing, so maybe Stephen could have just died, you know, or not been created in the first place. And she made the unselfish decision to become, well, not to become a parent, but to sacrifice herself as a parent by not existing, if that makes sense. Anyway, overall, I don't think she's a bad person. And she's just someone who had limited amount of power. She had very limited perspective. And at the time, when she was throwing her tantrums, she was technically mentally very young. And I still think that when she was about to become a parent, she was still kind of mentally young. I mean, I know she's 5,000 years or whatever, but in gem time, that's really not a lot. Anyway, if you had been in her place, if you were Pink Diamond, what would you have done differently? And leave a comment down below answering that question. What are your thoughts? Anyway, not all of you are going to agree with my opinion. That's okay. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe to me. Please subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. This is all part of a playlist, my thoughts on, and then everything Steven Universe future related and the Steven Universe in general. Anyway, bye-bye now!